research and development. This is a research and development lab here. The function of the research and development lab is to create various high-tech items which are used for various purposes. It is actually used in quite a few things. The significant, or the most significant thing in the research and development lab is a proto-lathe. The proto-lathe is a 3D printer that prints random devices. Throughout the round you'll have lots of people contacting you, well, depending on how creative they're being, contacting you, asking you to get them some kind of item which they cannot get themselves because there's a lot of stuff which they just don't have. Anyway, they need something printed out for them and they'll ask you to get it. What you need to do when you get asked for it is, well, first you need to decide if you want to give it to them and if it would be legal to give it to them. If they ask you for a gun and they're not security, you probably shouldn't give it to them. So it's up to you whether you wanted to give it to them, but assuming that you do, you click on the console, you click on the proto-lathe, and you search in what they asked for. For example, let's say they asked for a blue space beaker, which is something I use quite a lot. Okay, so you search, nothing came up, turns out you don't have it. Okay, at this point you need to contact the research director. In this situation we are the research director, to go and spend some research points trying to research it. This is the research director's office. We can enter here because we are the research director, normally you cannot. And we're going to go to the core R&D console. And we're going to click on technology. Now we see here we have general research. These are research points and we're accumulating them over time. You can spend these points on any of these researches. You will notice there is a lot of them. Don't feel like you need to read all of them. That will not be fun. It will just be bad. But here we have the ones where you've researched already. These are the ones we start with, the ones that are available, and the ones that will become available as we research certain things. So blue space beaker. What do we know about that? Blue space, basic blue space theory. Good thing to look at. So we look around here, and we find it eventually the blue space beaker. A lot of figuring out how to make something is cat and mouse. A good way of doing it is to go onto the research items on the wiki, to Control F. What you're looking for, and then you at least know what it looks like. So you can start tabbing through stuff, figuring out how to use it, or tabbing through these things, looking for the thing. So we know to get a blue space beaker we need applied blue space research, and to acquire that we need industrial engineering and blue space theory, so we're going to get both of those, and then we can get this, and we can now make a blue space beaker. Of course that's not quite that simple, there's other steps, but we now have the blueprint for blue space beaker. So we're going back to the research and development lab, we go into here, we go into our proto-lathe blue space beaker. Right, we can make it now, but we haven't got the required resources inside our proto-lathe. Now some of these we start with metal and glass we start with, so we're just going to take the metal, put it into the proto-lathe, take the glass, put it into the proto-lathe. Now we have the glass didn't actually need metal. So we need plastic, we need diamond, and we need blue space crystal. Now, diamond and blue space crystal are actually really hard to get hold of. Usually, you cannot get a hold of diamond yourself if you're in research. You need to rely on miners from engineering in order to get hold of it for you. So you just talk to engineering, say, hey, I need you to send someone to the mining planet, look for some diamond, and they will hook you up. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to just sponsor it. I think I may have spawned in diamond ore rather than actual diamonds. Yeah, okay, that was actual diamonds, good. Plastic, is okay, so I took a look around and there is no chemistry lab in science, so you'll have to ask to use, or not ask to use, you'll have to ask medical if they can use their chemistry lab to make you some plastic, and we'll just assume you've done that. I'm going to use administrative privileges to spawn in some plastic. Protolave. And the last thing we have is our blue space crystal. Now, the way you deal with blue space crystal is it's one of those other things which needs to be mined. So you could go to engineering and ask them to mine you some blue space crystal as well, and hopefully they find some of that and they'll bring it to you. And the other option is to make some artificial blue space crystal using the protolave, which is going to require plasma, which I think is stored. I think you have stores of plasma somewhere in. Okay, so there is no plasma in the research division, so we need to talk to engineering about getting some of their plasma. I know that they start with a stockpile of it, so they should be able to give you some if you need it, though they might want to keep it, might need to argue with them about it. So in order to get some plasma for this example, I'm just going to again spawn some in. Stuff. Yeah, there we go. So we have the plasma. We can make artificial blue space crystal, which we're then going to put into our protolave, which is going to allow us to hopefully make our blue space beaker. Okay, we used up all our diamonds, so we just need some more of that. Space beaker. What does it do? It's like a normal beaker, but it can hold more. It's pretty boring, but a beaker being able to hold more is actually quite important for chemistry because it allows them to make bigger explosions. Anyway, so that is a basic guide on research and development. If you just follow the same process as I did, when someone asks you to make something, or if you've just spot something on the console which you think looks interesting and want to make it yourself, those processes are: search for it on this, research it in the research director's office, come back, search it here, find out what resources you need, bug people to give you those resources, print out in your protolave.